birthday?
In June.
In June.
June? It just passed, man.
Whew.
Yeah.
All right, now we are live.
We're live on YouTube.
Yeah, we do apologize for that. We had some problems getting in. But,
no problem.
Yeah, but now we are live. So,
Corey.
Corey, what are your thoughts about Survivor Series? Who are your picks to win this weekend?
In a way, I'm going with Smackdown, but I know Raw going to cheat.
Raw's going to cheat? Even with Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto for the Cruiserweight title?
Yeah.
Well, The Miz is going to cheat for his Intercontinental
By the
title.
way, I think Brian Kendrick going to cheat too.
Well, yeah, he cheated to win,
When y'all doing the predictions?
We'll be doing them as soon as we get off the phone with you.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about NXT Takeover Toronto first.
Oh, but I can't wait. I can't wait for my baby to come back.
I know, but the thing is, I'm for some reason, I'm thinking NXT Takeover is going to be a much better show than Survivor Series.
Yeah. And
That's just my personal.
Takeover's 2 hours, right?
I don't know. I think so too.
But the thing about Survivor Series, like Billy was saying, it's 6 hours this year.
Yeah, a 2-hour kickoff. I don't see why we have to have a 2-hour kickoff for Survivor Series.
You know what, Billy?
What?
Remember when they did it for SummerSlam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess.
I hope you don't get that for Survivor Series.
If we do get that, let's just say, people who watch my YouTube channel, I will not have a lot of nice things to say. And things that I can't repeat on this show.
Yeah.
If we get it like we got it last year for SummerSlam, I'll never watch a pay-per-view again.
And let me just put it to you like this, Corey. A lot of 4-letter words will be said in my review on YouTube if that happens.
Oh, everybody.
I gotta talk for 3 hours.
Everybody.
This is Billy. Why do you have to talk for 2 hours?
Oh, I'm trying to think of some good Survivor Series trivia, like who debuted in 1990 as a part of the Survivor Series team and would go on to have a legendary career in the WWE.
Gobbledygooker.
Gobbledygooker, really?
Ooh.
Ooh, it's a lady.
No, that's Osiris.
Oh.
In 1990?
Yep, he debuted in 1990 as part of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase's team. He was going against Dusty Rhodes' team, and his first manager was Brother Love.
I love you. And he made his return on Smackdown Tuesday.
See, not many people remember that this man had Brother Love as his first manager, but he would go on to have another legendary manager, and unfortunately he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah.
God dang it. Let's just say his career has been dead on.
Not the Undertaker.
It's The Undertaker.
Yay.
He debuted in Survivor Series 1990 as part of the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase's team. Gobbledygooker's on the list according to Osiris. That's a good one. 1 second.
Oh.
But
I had to take a sip of water because, like I said, we were running in here, and me and running don't mix. Okay.
I want to know what the Undertaker will do this year.
I don't know. That's a very interesting thing to actually bring up too, because one of the things that I said on my Smackdown review, which is going to be posted up later tonight. Corey, do you follow my YouTube channel at all?
How do I go to it?
You look up WGS-TV on YouTube. That's the name of my channel.
WGS?
WGS-TV.
Yep.
WGS-TV?
No, G as in girl.
WGS-TV?
Yes, that's it. That's my YouTube channel. And one of the things I'm going to be talking about on that review, Mark, is, how long will The Undertaker be back at full time? Because, in the promo he said he's back taking souls and digging holes, and he'll no longer let
He did say that.
Yeah, and he said he will no longer let WrestleMania define who he is. So how long do you think, as a friend of mine, Osiris says he's driving right now. Be careful on the road, Osiris.
Yeah.
How long do you think the Undertaker? Because he's up there in age. He's not as young as he's not as young as he used to be.
He's only 50, but like he's been on a rough road. Working that much.
How old is
just about
Undertaker?
50, 51.
51.
Yeah.
But he just recently had like hip replacement surgery, which is something I'm gonna have to do in a few months.
Yeah.
Really?
But I see Undertaker like it's.
Corey, if you're looking at your TV, man, I have to walk with this every day.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, wow.
You should be a manager. You hit somebody with that.
Oh, yeah.
I can't hit somebody with something I have to walk with.
But the thing is about Undertaker, like I think it's great that he's with SmackDown and maybe backstage Raw. He could help out
do better.
younger guys. I see Undertaker's being an agent the next few years. Or
Corey, how long do you think the Undertaker will be around? Because a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter are thinking that he's only going to be around until WrestleMania. My good friend James is here. He's probably going to be calling in as soon as we get off the line with you, Corey. He says Taker versus Styles at the Rumble.
What y'all think about that? I think it's going to happen.
It's got. I want to say this. I would say that it has a better chance of that happening, of Taker versus Styles happening, than Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
So back was retired, huh?
But yeah, not only that, and Osiris says there's speculation that the Undertaker is going to retire at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This WrestleMania coming up?
WrestleMania is going to be in April, I think, this year.
April.
Hey, but I wanted to get that new belt one. I wanted to get one more belt one more time.
I see. James, I'm not even going to repeat that statement, and you better not either. You better not either. But anyway, Corey, it was cool talking to you, man. But we gotta let you go because I think we got another person waiting to call.
Yeah.
All right. Next Thursday, fellas.
All right, man.
Thursday. Nice talking.
And we'll talk to you next week, man.
All right.
All right, peace. Always great to hear from Corey here. And James, if I ever see you again, you're gonna get this.
Yeah. Go fun on.
And then you're gonna get it too for that one.
What new that's cool.
Well, that might have been from Corey, but anyway, let's go ahead and Osiris says Taker versus Cena. Do you think that Undertaker's retirement match, if it's going to be his retirement match, is going to be at WrestleMania? And James, if you want to call in, the number's on the screen. Yeah. And I even updated it in the description box this time, so you don't have a reason to complain. Because remember last time he kind of had a little bit of a complaint about that. But if anybody else wants to call in too and give them their thoughts. So before we get our next phone call, let's get into NXT Takeover Toronto. First match we're going to talk about is the 2 out of 3 Falls match for the NXT Tag Team Championship, with the Revival defending their championships against #DIY, the team of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. One of the most talked about tag team feuds this year in NXT has been the Revival versus DIY. And their past matches have been absolutely amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. And but now we're taking that setting and not only putting it, Mark, into a takeover setting, which arguably NXT truly shines. As we do have James getting here. James, give me 1 second to let me finish my thought. Not only are we putting them into a takeover setting like this, but now we're going to add a 2 out of 3 falls stipulation into the match. One thing I'm going to say, Mark, is this is going to be a match really worth watching.
Yeah, and the main roster has to step it up. And the tag team division for the main roster has to step it up.
James, what are your thoughts about Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus the Revival 2 out of 3 falls?
I think it's a very interesting stipulation that they added to this, but I could see why, because you could have the close possibility that this could go 3 falls, and there could be the possibility we might have new tag champs, or the Revival find a way to win the championship in that 3rd fall.
What's up to Joshua Aber in the chat room? And I gotta agree with you to an extent, James, because Again, it's just got the makings that we already know that both teams are going to split a fall one apiece, because you want to extend that match drama. You want to build up that excitement, and the way to do that is you have to have both teams share a fall each, and then have it the third fall being
Give suspense to it.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to the actual match, like I said, 90% chance of both of that happening, but I think that this is the time, and this is what my official pick is, and Osiris, I agree with you. I am going with DIY to take the third fall and become the new tag team champions of NXT. But Mark, I would not be surprised to see the Revival retain, but what are your picks?
I'll say the Revival, but I think it's going to be even, and I think Revival's going to come at top. But I think it's going to be one of the best matches. They had so many matches, but I think this is going to be the one that's going to be like, wow.
If Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't a match of the year candidate, then James, I got to figure this 2 out of 3 falls match has got to be a really close second to be a match of the year candidate.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've seen them actually up live in person when they did have this match at the New Orleans event all the way back in August before the Brooklyn, and that was match of the night at that time, and I believe this will be a great candidate, but I just don't think they could have that great candidate than Sami and Nakamura at Dallas.
Well, speaking of mismatches,
that's too high of a bar for me.
I know, but speaking of mismatches, in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic Tag Team Tournament, it's TM61 versus the Authors of Pain. First off, I want to say, I like the idea of 2 set tag teams in the finals this year, unlike last year where I believe it was Samoa Joe and Finn Balor versus Rhino and Baron Corbin. But looking at the finals this year, the face tag team, which is TM61, they face an uphill battle against the heel team and the Authors of Pain. And I gotta think, James, with the way the Authors have been pushed as of late, I wouldn't be surprised to see them winning the whole thing.
There's also a stipulation for this. Our friend Paul
Ellering?
Yeah, Paul Ellering will be suspended above the ring in a shark cage.
Never happened before.
Again, for those of you who don't know your wrestling trivia, there was one particular match, I believe it was Sting versus Ric Flair, where,
there are a bunch of matches.
No, but which one of them had James J. Dillon suspended in the steel cage?
Yeah, that Sting and Ric Flair, that was the one. They had that on the WWE YouTube page. That was it.
So I guess that's probably where they got the inspiration for doing that. So, but you know what? With Ellering being kind of the heelish manager of sorts, without being the heel, I think that's. I guess it's fair to say that they're going to have that. But I still think with the way the Authors have been built, and the way they've been dominating, like I said, TM61, they're going to have them. As far as goes with the Authors of Pain, Josh, if you want to go and put it in your predictions, well, I'll read them for the show. I've got to figure the Authors of Pain are got to come out on top on this one.
Yeah, I think, like you said, like they're pushing them. I think they should try to do something with their character. Look what happened to Ascension.
Yeah, they fell on the cracks.
I don't think they rank the main roster. Get like more development. I think Paul Ellering's really helping them out. But I think they need to get more possessed in their characters.
Yeah, and the Ascension had so much potential when they were in NXT. One of the most dominant NXT tag teams ever, one of the longest reigning tag team champions ever, and you just had high hopes when they got brought up to the main roster, and it was just another blatantly misuse of good talent in WWE, and that's exactly what's happening with the Ascension.
The detention? What?
The detention.
Ascension, yeah.
Well, let's get off of that and get to one of the matches I'm going to be looking forward to. It's the NXT Women's Championship. It was online as the hottest NXT Women's Champion of all time, in my personal opinion. Asuka will be defending the title against the returning Mickie James. It's going to be really...
I met her in person.
You have?
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah, you're the man, Magnus.
Anyway, It's going to be really interesting to see how James works with someone like Asuka. And Osiris says the Ascension reminds me of an early demolition. With what they're doing now, with the whole face paint, I can see that.
Yeah.
I really can. So I agree with Osiris on that one. But now with Asuka, when you want to talk about the standard of women's wrestling, and not just in NXT but in WWE as a whole, Asuka's name has got to be the first name you think of.
Yeah.
You know, she's been dominant. She's incredibly hot in my personal opinion. Because like I said before, I got a thing for Asian chicks.
Yep.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that. And I'm even wearing an Asuka t-shirt right here on the show.
Yeah.
So I really do like Asuka. Now, I don't think Asuka has ever worked with someone as experienced as Mickie James is, but she's not a spring chicken either.
Yeah.
Asuka's very experienced in the ring. But do I see Asuka retaining the championship?
Yes.
Well, let me put it to you like this. If WWE ever wants to have Asuka make the jump to the main roster, then she would have to drop it to somebody. So the question is that person Mickie James? Is Mickie James the right person for her to drop the title to so she can make the jump to the main roster? Here's my answer. This is how I answer it. I don't think Mickie James is the right person. I think somebody who would be a much, as Osiris says, he's going with Asuka. But my reason for it is I think someone like an Ember Moon would be a much better choice to kind of pick up the reins and become the next NXT Women's Champion than Mickie James, because I don't believe Mickie James is signed for like a full-time deal with NXT.
She is signed, to my knowledge, one match. So this will be the one match. If she is signed with WWE, it's going to be like a part-time, not a full-time. But I give it to like this way. I think the only reason why they're giving a match to a Mickie James is I feel like they can actually make the jump to make Asuka a heel, to have her fight an Amber Moon at some like another NXT takeover, like maybe the one in Miami for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I gotta agree with Osiris. He says I want a Mickie James Asuka sandwich. You'd have to fight me for that one, Osiris. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll tell you what, even if Asuka did turn heel, I'd still be a fan of her. That's how much I like her.
And right now, she's pretty much a heel. She's a tweener.
She kicks ass. I think she's got a right to adopt a cocky attitude as part of her gimmick. I mean, if you've been undefeated for over a year, wouldn't you have like a cocky attitude? Mm-hmm. And the reason why she has a cocky attitude is... What?
I think Goldberg had a cocky attitude when he had that undefeated streak.
Yeah, but if you remember back in WCW, they I think he even said it too, when they made the mistake of turning him heel and it just didn't work. Yep. That was Vince Russo's bright idea, if I remember.
Bro, we could turn you heel, bro.
Anyway, officially, my pick is Asuka. Osiris said Asuka. You're also gonna say Asuka. James, what's your pick?
Asuka. I don't see a Mickie to take the title off her.
So it's kind of unanimous, unless Josh wants to put in his comment in the chat room. Now we're going to take a look, because I didn't have time to get all of my notes prepared. Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe. So far in 2016, or the latter part of 2016 this year, the talk about the NXT Championship, the two names heavily associated with that discussion, Mark, has been Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe. It's been like one of the top feuds over the past few months for NXT. And it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, to say the least.
And it's great. You know, it's great to have a match like that. You know, it's one of the...
James, I wonder if you can confirm what Osiris just put in the chat room. He says speculation that Bayley has been brought back to NXT.
That is a false rumor. Bayley is not expected to go back down to NXT. WWE has the main roster likes her, and I think she's going to get a push maybe against Charlotte, maybe sometime down the future.
I think it's probably with how they work Survivor Series, and hopefully we can get to that before the show is over. Yep. But Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe, I gotta see, their last match for that title was just absolutely great, and I think it lived up to the hype. And I think the rematch is going to be all that better because they know what kind of chemistry they have with each other. And I believe Nakamura and Samoa Joe have worked somewhere else before, if not in Japan. I'm trying to think of where else it's been, because I think somebody said on social media, they even made a meme about Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe meeting somewhere else. I could be wrong about that. But why didn't you just say that on the phone, James?
Because you were talking about this match, I would rather have you talk about this match before then.
Well, if you want me to, we'll talk about Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger. And like I said, I didn't have an opportunity to get all of. And you know what was weird? I was on WWE.com, and that's where I got the match card. And for some odd reason, Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger were not there. So is this match a dark match, or will this be like on the match following NXT Takeover?
They've been hyping it up on NXT that they have this match at Toronto.
Yeah, but why isn't it on WWE.com then?
Oh.
WWE.com is weird.
So is this match like I'm speculating? Will this match be like a pre-recorded match that airs next week following NXT Takeover?
I'm checking it right now. I'm checking it right now.
Never knew.
But Osiris says he thinks Joe is going to get the title back. I don't think he's going to get the title back. I think they're going to have Joe take the loss at a takeover, and they could possibly use this maybe to bump Joe up to either Raw or SmackDown. Could this be the time that they do it?
He needs to go to SmackDown.
Why do you think SmackDown?
AJ Styles, guys. I like to see John Cena against Samoa Joe.
I think I know why you want to see John Cena versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
But James, why are you thinking about that? Your thoughts? Could this be the opportunity that WWE's been looking for to finally have Joe be done with NXT and bump him up to the main roster?
I think this is the great possibility that we will see the last of Joe. And I think he's going to lose and basically get called up sometime soon down the line. And I'm lucky. I understand why you see that there is no Ty Dillinger, but that is a match that is confirmed on Takeover.
So that leads me to believe that if it's not on the official card, which is on WWE.com,
it is.
We know that. But hear me out. This is the point I'm trying to make, James, is that if it's not listed under the official match card that's on WWE.com right now, then that would lead me to believe that it's going to be a pre-recorded match that's going to air the week after TakeOver. Because they've done it before. It wouldn't surprise me if they do it again. And Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger, I would not be surprised if they did it like that. Cyrus says he's thinking that Nakamura should be brought up first. I don't know about that. I think fans might want to see a Samoa Joe on.
Nakamura is too over in NXT. He's basically like the new Finn Balor of NXT right now.
Yeah, and I think they need to have him there for quite some time. Finn Balor was in NXT for about a year and a half before he got the call up. So, as much as I would like to see Nakamura on the main roster, I think they need to have him have his run as NXT champion first, like Finn Balor did, before they give him the bump up. And I understand they did it before, Osiris, but I think Samoa Joe, when it comes to American wrestling, I think Samoa Joe is a more recognizable name in a sense, and I think WWE's been waiting to pull the trigger on that. So that's why I think that Samoa Joe will get the bump up first before Nakamura. I think Nakamura needs to have his run in NXT before they do all that and figure out what they want to do with him on the main roster. Because if they want to bump up both Joe and Nakamura, they need to find somebody else to have their run with the NXT Championship, and they need time to develop that guy. And so I think that's why they have to have Nakamura have his run before they do a bump up. That's just my thoughts on it. But as far as Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger goes,
Bobby Roode. Yeah, Bobby Roode.
It's just a toss of the coin.
But it's gonna be a really good match.
Yeah.
I think isn't Bobby Roode from Toronto?
He's Canadian. I know that.
We don't check.
Well, while he's doing that, let's talk Survivor Series. Since we talked
Yeah,
about
he's still from Toronto. Yeah.
he is from Toronto. Well, let's look at the Cruiserweight match first. We got Brian Kendrick and Kalisto. There's been a lot of rumors, and Osiris says, I think Joe is content in NXT. Maybe not. You know, again, I think the only person that really can know that are the actual people involved. Right now, I think it's just pure speculation. To say the least. Josh, if you're still in the chat room, man, you know, we want to hear from you, man. He chatted, Joshua Aber, he chatted in earlier, and he hasn't said anything yet, but, and Osiris says he goes with Roode as well. But now with 205 Live making his debut in a couple of weeks, and with it being on Tuesdays after Smackdown, James, is that just a dead giveaway what they're going to be doing with the Cruiserweight division? Yeah, that's the bad thing about it. You know, sometimes WWE, they show their hands before they played. And I said it for a long time on WGS-TV, and James, you know what I'm about to say. When wrestling becomes predictable, it becomes...
absolutely bored.
Thank you. When we know ahead of time what WWE is going to do, what's the point of watching it? There's no excitement. There's no shock value. You know, you have to have that kind of shock value for it to be entertaining. You want to sit there and just marvel and wonder in what they're doing with the storyline. And as of late, WWE has just lost touch with that.
Like, pretty much anybody can book WWE right now. You know?
Exactly. You know, anybody on YouTube can do that.
IWC, our favorite people, IWC can do it.
Yeah. Not very well, though, but they can still do it. We don't want to give them too much credit.
Maybe Vince Russo was right. You know, he did a good...
Yeah, we don't want to pad the IWC's ego. I mean, they're dumb enough as it is. Yeah. Yes, I'm calling you out, IWC. You're dumb. Because I've never considered myself a part of the IWC because, for one thing, I formulate my own opinions. Two, I like to think for myself. I don't go with the masses, which is why I say screw Brock Lesnar. Anyway, I got to say, with the Cruiserweight title match, it's a dead giveaway with 205 Live coming around that. To me, it would be a matter of convenience, Mark, that to have the Cruiserweights on SmackDown instead of Raw. So, and they said 205 Live, which lead me to believe that the show's going to be live.
On Tuesdays.
So,
but I think
are we all unanimous about this, that Kalisto's going to get the Cruiserweight title?
Yes.
I think Kendrick's going because I think.
Well, if they're gonna move the Cruiserweights to SmackDown, then they have to have Kalisto with the title. Because that's the other stipulation. If Kalisto wins the Cruiserweight title, and Josh is asking me, where will you be watching Survivor Series at my house on the WWE Network?
Yeah, for $9.99.
But I will also be live on my YouTube channel during a Google Hangout. So if you guys want to hang out and chat with me during Survivor Series, you're more than welcome to. Again, Kalisto. Now for the Intercontinental Championship match, and I said this earlier. I was looking forward to Dolph Ziggler versus Sami Zayn. That had the makings for a great match. James, do you think that replacing The Miz is kind of a
Yes, because that would have been a great match. It could be a match of the night candidate if they were stuck with it. The only reason why I also have to know is because who else is a big heel on SmackDown than The Miz? That's not already in a Survivor Series match. So, and I understand the only way to get Zayn to, win the championship, I would rather have him beat a heel than a face in Wrigley.
Osiris says for the Cruiserweight title match, Kendrick will cheat and win, and he'll be there. Are you going to be there at the event? Or, he's going to be at the hangout. Okay. Yeah, I spoke with him beforehand about that. Now, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't think, if Raw's going to lose one of their secondary titles, does it make sense to have both secondary titles or main secondary titles, I guess we could call it, like the Intercontinental title and the United States title on the same show? I mean, if SmackDown's going to get the Cruiserweight title, wouldn't it make more sense that Monday Night Raw gets the IC title in its place?
Yeah, it's true, but at the same time, this kind of makes no sense because, as you said, you have the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title, two of the main secondary titles in WWE, especially the Intercontinental Championship. Having a Raw, I understand, because you can help Raw out more, but it's just gonna not like how the Cruiserweight is. Cruiserweight is not up there yet. It's not made yet.
I gotta agree with you there. Now, hold on. I'm just bringing up a little bit of intel. Like I said, I've been running late all day, and I do apologize about that, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, I did not have an opportunity to one, get all my notes together, and two, I was not aware that Nick Nede Fukui was not going to be joining us tonight. So let me just get all of these notes together. I'm trying to get see, I already know the preview of Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. We're going to try to talk about that before the night or the show is over. Let's look at the Women's Survivor Series match. That on Team Raw, we have Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, and Alicia Fox taking on Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Naomi, and Carmella. Now, one of the things I've always found it difficult when doing shows like this is when you're looking at matches that have an elimination aspect to it, it's very difficult to kind of look at the match and, figure out which way, I didn't mean to do that, figure out which way the storyline's going to go, because there are just so many different variables applied to the storyline. I mean, will one team wipe the other team out, or will it be like one against the other?
Nia Jackson wipe everybody, or
and that's why it's so difficult when you look at matches that have the elimination tag team aspect into it. James, I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but with so many, I want to say there's probably like anywhere between 5 to 8 or 9 different variables in this match that would kind of just, I don't know, just to make your arms, throw your hands up like I am and say, I don't know.
It is, because you're going to have to look at all the aspects. You could have possibility one person turns on the team. You have 2 people walk out. You don't know really what can happen with the Survivor Series.
Let me read a couple of comments first. Josh says, I think the Cruiserweight title should be on SmackDown and the Intercontinental title should go to Raw. And Osiris says, give it to Zayn so we can drop it to Finn Balor. But again, back to what you were saying, James.
I was just saying, it's like you're right. It's like we have different aspects in going into this because you have basically rivals forced to team up together
on both teams.
On both teams, exactly. That you don't know the element of this. It's like it could go either way.
I mean, when you look at the women's match, I mean, there's the rivalry with Sasha Banks and Charlotte, not to mention Bayley and Charlotte. And not only that, there's also a little bit of a rivalry with Nia Jax and Alicia Fox, but it's Alicia Fox, who really cares? Over on Team SmackDown, there's the rivalry with Nikki Bella and Carmella, and Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss over the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I think what we're going to do for the rest of this show is we're just going to take the elimination aspect out of the match. And we're just going to say which team we believe is going to go over in the match. I think that's a fair way to do it. Wouldn't you think, Mark?
Yeah, that's what.
Because we can't really narrow it down to a T as to which way they're going to go. But looking at this one for right now, the team that's been looking a lot stronger than the other one as of late, it's Team SmackDown.
Yeah. Or you think maybe they're going to let Nia Jax be the main survivor?
She could do it. She, if it came down to Nia Jax, James, I think she can do it. She could tag him.
She could, but I could also see them extending Charlotte's pay-per-view win record.
Josh says I think Dana Brooke could cost them the match.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's that if Nia Jax does the same thing she did on SmackDown, she might not even be an aspect to this.
Well, yeah, James brings up a very interesting point. If you remember, she speared the timekeepers area with nobody there. Osiris is going with the SmackDown women's team to get the victory over the Raw women's team. But and like I said, we're just taking the elimination aspect out of the match because, like I said, there's no way with so many different variables to the Survivor Series matches that we can narrow down to a degree of certainty which way WWE is going to go. So now let's look at the tag team aspect of it with the tag team Survivor Series match. On Team Raw, it's the captains, the New Day, with Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, Cesaro and Sheamus, and the Shining Stars who replaced the Golden Truth, which was a step down in my personal opinion, taking on Team SmackDown's whose team captains are Heath Slater and Rhino, and they're being joined by the Hype Bros, the Usos, American Alpha,
And the Fashion Police.
And the Fashion Police, Breezango.
Yeah.
First off, all hail King Booker, for those of you who saw SmackDown.
No, it's Booker.
Booker! I can't do the accent that he can. I can't do it. I'm sorry, I just can't. But looking at this, there's literally been more of a build on the Raw side of things, James, wouldn't you say, more than SmackDown, because there's been more focused on the club, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, and what they said they're going to do, rather than anything from the SmackDown tag team aspect.
That's true, and as I said, they go to any of these three traditional Survivor Series, just more of the different certainties of rivals teaming up with each other. Like New Day's teamed up with the club, and then like on SmackDown, Heath Slater, Rhino, you got the Usos, and the Usos is basically also feuding with American Alpha. So you don't really know what this one could go to through this.
But I think I'm going to go with Team Raw because there's been more of a focus on that team, and more of a storyline of sorts. Yeah. Because I'm again, where was Queen Charmel? I don't know, but remember Osiris Booker and Charmel. Yeah, they run their own promotion, Reality of Wrestling. Yep. ROW. Yeah, and it's on YouTube, so guys just look it up. And it's actually a good promotion. I've been watching it as of late. It's a really good show. Yeah,
Titan, a guy we know that wrestles.
Yeah, Paul Titan. He's part of Reality of Wrestling. So shout out to Paul Titan. Osiris is picking Team Raw to win over Team SmackDown. What about you, James? What's your pick?
I'm going to flip-flop on both of them. I'm going to go Team Raw for the women's match, but go Team SmackDown for the tag match.
Yeah, possibly. Mark, your pick?
Team SmackDown. Yeah, baby.
Now let's look at the Raw Men's Survivor Series team, or no, I'm sorry, Men's Survivor Series team, as Team Raw, which is captained by both Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, joined by Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Braun Strowman, as they take on AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, Bray Wyatt, and Randy Orton. Now, we saw the confrontation that happened between these two teams on Monday Night Raw, and one of the things I said on YouTube earlier this week, or just yesterday is when it went up, is, of course, with it being Monday Night Raw, they had to have their team look strong going into Survivor Series. James, is that any indication of them not winning the match?
We say that the old famous quote is that if you look strong on a event, like a Raw
or go home show,
before a go home show, exactly. Thank you. If you look strong on a go home show, you will 9 times out of 10 will lose. But recently in WWE, if you go back to like the other events, like Hell in a Cell, Charlotte looked strong on Raw and then basically won the match at Hell in a Cell. So I'm throwing that out the book. I actually might go Team Raw on this one because
Osiris agrees with you. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I see it. Because you have the list of Jericho.
Yeah, but here's the thing we need to ask. Is Survivor Series, Mark, the time when they turn Jericho on Kevin Owens?
Or Kevin Owens on...
Or Kevin Owens turns on Chris Jericho. Is Survivor Series the moment when they pull that trigger?
Well, that's a good question, really, to be honest. Yeah. But the question would be, who would be the heel? Who would be the face in this thing?
Osiris,
will you turn...
Well, listen to this. Osiris brings up something interesting. The reason why he's going with Team Raw, he says it could set up the match between Taker and AJ Styles.
That's what I always have thought myself, because what Taker said on Smackdown is like, if y'all fail, y'all will fear, you will have to deal with the dead man. So that's a possibility right there, that Styles could turn on the team, be all greedy for himself, and then just like Taker comes out and it's like, I challenge you for the title, you know?
And I think I know the only reason why they want James Ellsworth there. Apparently he's been like the hottest selling thing on SmackDown as of late.
Maybe I'll check Chuck Slam.
He's like New Day in WrestleMania, okay?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on that one. So officially my pick, I'm gonna go with Team Raw.
Team SmackDown.
James?
Team Raw.
Alright, and Osiris says Team Raw. So finally the main event, I'll put that up in quotation marks. Yeah. Goldberg, or as the man, the myth, the legend, the mighty Osiris would say, Godberg, taking on Brock Lesnar. And people who have followed me on YouTube, well, yeah, let me put it to you like this. People who have followed me on YouTube for quite some time know my disdain for Brock Lesnar. This guy is just overly hyped. People look at him, oh, he can really win a fight. He should be undefeated in all of his matches. He's tough. He could really kick somebody's butt. So what? So what? That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, when we look at this epic rematch, do you feel, James, that this match will live up to the hype? Well, you know what? Hold on. Let's ask our friend Jacob, who just came in here. Jacob, do you believe the rematch between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar will live up to the hype?
It could. I don't know, man. Rematches are fraught because everybody has so much expectation, you know?
And the last match is like really bad.
Yeah, so that's where it can't be worse, right? I mean, they probably learned from that.
But I think the thing everybody needs to remember about that match is the information that they were leaving WWE after that match had been leaked out.
Yeah, true.
And all the fans knew that, and that's why the fans were angry with that match. You know, and you really can't work a good match we've got 3 minutes left, I am being told. You really can't work a good match when the fans are already turned against you. But knowing that aspect of it is completely irrelevant in this match, in this rematch, I got to say, 12 years later, Goldberg at 50 is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
And
it's called steroids, dude.
Well, hey, if they let Brock Lesnar get away with it, why not Goldberg?
Yeah.
And friend Mark Smith in chat room, I'm hoping Goldberg versus Lesnar isn't another letdown like WrestleMania 20, just like we just said, or Jacob just said just a second ago. So very quickly, my pick, if this is a one-off rematch, I gotta go Goldberg on this one.
Yeah.
You know, it's the logical choice here.
I really don't care. I'm just gonna go eat maybe.
James, very quickly.
Goldberg wins. No. Brock Lesnar wins. Goldberg gets the last laugh.
Your last.
Well, guys and gals, that's been our thoughts on Survivor Series and NXT Takeover Toronto. Who was right? Who was wrong? Well, the only way to find out is to tune in next week, right here on AOC and WGS-TV. And hopefully next week, Nick Mayday, and will not make anybody say Mayday, so that way he can be here and say, hey, Fuquay.
None next week's is Thanksgiving, in 2 weeks.
Oh, in 2 weeks then.
2 weeks.
2 weeks then. But hey, there'll still be a review on WGS-TV regardless.
Have you
So
got
YouTube, go to youtube.com/WrestleGamer for that. Osiris says they won't let Goldberg lose in front of his family. It'll be the feel-good moment of the show. Yeah, I gotta agree with that one. So again, I want to thank the people who joined us in the chat room tonight. That's Josh, that's Osiris, that's Mark Smith. I want to thank James and Corey who called in. I want to thank you, Mark, for being here. No thanks to you, Nick, for not showing up. So again, guys, in 2 weeks' time, we'll be back here on AOC. But in the meantime, for this guy, Mark the Smart, I am your friendly neighborhood Russell Gamer, and we will see you next time right here on Sports Entertainment Tonight. Bye, guys!
Your king made the list.
I hate you, James!